Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Long Distance Stitchers. My name is Megan.
I am also Megan.
This is our November wrap up.
Yeah,
It's November 30th.
it is. It is the last day of November. This has been a very long month. I don't know about you, but it has felt
Felt long.
great. Um,
Much has happened.
yeah, a lot of really terrible things happened this month. Um,
But anyway,
really terrible things. Yeah. Um, the world is a terrible place, and
and that happened at the beginning of the month. It was
well, it's
already,
happened. It's
I
happened
I
continuously
mean, it's
throughout.
been happening, but
Like
yeah.
it's not. It's not. It just. I don't know. It's feeling I don't know,
Yeah,
feeling
it's a
like
lot.
things are not going to change their trajectory very easily or very fast.
Yeah.
And yet we just keep at,
Only so much you
at
can do,
going to work.
but you do what you can.
Things, yeah, make the small impacts, make a difference where and when you are able, in whatever way you are able to.
Mm-hmm. I don't even really have any there's not any fundraising or anything that's happening right now.
I mean, you can always
I
give
mean, you can
like
it's like the ongoing things, but there's no big thing that I was like, "Oh, we should talk about this," because it's like there's been so many just like small ones that we've talked about, but then yeah, like there's always the same organizations that are
yeah,
looking
there's
for.
lots of there's also lots of people who are working directly like with families still trying to get out of
Yeah.
Palestine. So you can donate directly to GoFundMe's. I think that's probably the biggest impact that you can make, as well as folks in the US who are trying to change their situation before January 20th, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's relocating or just getting themselves prepared for what might come as some swift and harsh changes
Yeah.
around healthcare rights and human rights and just
Yeah. There's been a lot of
not a good place to be.
there's like a lot there was I don't know if they passed a bill or if they've just introduced it. But there was like another like bathroom bill thing that I saw the other day.
Yeah. Yep.
Really horrible. And honestly, like very similar things happening right now in Alberta. There's been chatter out here about it. I've heard like it's not it's not just isolated to like the
Yeah.
states. Like
The
it's
BC election scraped by,
yeah.
scraped by, almost going to, and not just, the former Liberal became BC United Party, but the far right.
Yeah. And I know like the federal election, um, I know like Pierre Polivier or whatever his name is like gaining
Yep,
interest.
yep,
That really scares me. Like that,
yep.
yeah,
And our prime minister refuses to admit that maybe he's not the guy for the job anymore.
yeah,
And we're running out of time to have that go over well. We saw how well a last minute change worked for our neighbors to the south.
yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, that's a very joyous way to start our stitchy update. But
Yeah,
I
but
think the reality
that's our
of
life
the world.
right now. Yeah, I don't I don't want to pretend like that's not going on.
Yeah,
So yeah,
So do what you can and also take care of yourself, which is, what stitching time is for a lot of us. Time for reflection and uh,
Yeah.
also using it
A
when you're able
distraction
to.
sometimes.
Distraction, but also, to send a message as well sometimes. So,
I'm very excited for Dee's next release of their trans statements.
mhm, which he'll
I don't
put
know when.
ready.
Yeah. He said, like, he was like, I'm waiting for like the right time or whatever to release it. So it's like, understandable.
Yeah, but a good message.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, they do show it um, in the annual D's 20
Oh, yeah, the whip parade. There's a whip parade.
birthday whip parade extravaganza, which was, a moment of joy last weekend. Um,
Great. Yes. I watched that one. And then there was like, I was behind on a couple of episodes. So it was like a 3 hour block of just D stitching. That was like,
nice,
that was good.
nice.
That was very nice. I didn't even think about a tarot card today because
Oh,
I
neither
just got home. So okay, good.
did I. I was starting to be better at doing them daily, and then I went out of town for a week and I didn't take them with me, and so I got them. And that
Got out of the habit of it.
went out of town for longer than I expected to be out of town, which is
Yeah,
always fun too. Thank you, snow. Which I'm not complaining about the snow. We need the snow. We have been in a drought. We have so much snow now. I
yeah,
feel like in the last 3 weeks we've had almost as much snow as we got all last winter. So um,
yeah.
that's probably
We
not,
haven't had
but
any.
we've had three significant dumps. Like there's like this much sitting out there on top of things.
Yeah,
We're
we
we're
haven't had
we're
any.
good. Um,
We had like it was very cold and raining ish
yeah.
yesterday, and for a moment it looked like it might be snow, but
Mhm.
no such
Well,
thing.
you can always come visit. I have plenty.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very glad I did not have to be the one driving back into town
Yeah,
yesterday, though. It started out fine, and then the further north we got, the road got crappier and crappier, but we were okay. Slow and steady. We gave ourselves lots of time, no rush.
that's why you got to do it.
So, with all that said, for those of you who are still with us, would you like to see some
Yeah,
stitching? Megan, I believe you maybe finished something this month.
I finished a few things.
Yeah, yeah, good.
Had a very good
Let's let's see
had
them.
a big finish and then some little ones. So my first finish was Quirky Quicker Cow from Darling and Whimsy Designs. Everyone else did a special kind of cow. I think Amy did a strawberry milk cow and Michelle did a chocolate milk cow. And I wanted to do a special cow too, so I did a purple cow.
Is it grape milk?
What's that?
It's not a real thing, but if it's purple, is your milk
Oh,
flavored?
it should be grape flavored.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to try its milk, but I'm sure there's somebody out there for whom that sounds
I'm sure
like
there's people that
A
are
plus plus flavor.
those like raw milk people that are like, that's how you
Ugh,
get the real good stuff.
let's not go down that rabbit hole. We've already talked about enough this about the world
Um,
around us.
and then I also did my Quirky Picker snail.
I love how this turned out. It's
And
perfect.
he's so tiny. I think this is 20 count. I think this started as 18 count and became 20 count.
Yeah. He looks
Both
little
of these,
mushrooms.
both of these are, yeah, I love the mushrooms. Both of these are ornament cuts from Kaylee at the sewing shop. I think this one feels more like a 16 maybe. And then yeah. But yeah, they don't have names. They were just like in one of the packs that
Just
I
in a
bought.
package. You just get a package of fabric.
It's very good, especially if you're doing a lot of Quakers.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other day I went to my Stitch and Pub day for the Toronto Guild of Stitchery. So Stitch and Pub is it was an embroidery association of Canada thing where they were like, we'll stitch in public, and then people will be like, what are you all doing? And then we'll be like, you should join the guild. And then it became, because of Victoria, who's in the Toronto Guild, the stitch in pub, like the pub day. So we go to the Duke of York, Kent, one of the Dukes, one of the Duke pubs, and they have like this really nice, like very well lit, like kind of like sunroom in the upstairs. And so we just like take over that room and we sat there and stitched for many hours. And I finished my Northern Lights bear that I started on a train in Germany and also made a mistake on here. And so all of this had
You
to
weren't
be,
supposed to tell.
no, it's fine. I just was like, because I was like, I would get to a part where I was supposed to stitch a color and there would already be a stitch there. And I was like, that's weird. And then I was like, where did I mess up? Like, obviously, I didn't take anything out. I just kept going because it's all sort of just like, it's like a Northern Lights. It's abstract. It's fine.
Beautiful. Yeah.
But I couldn't figure out what I had done. And then I realized right here, there was one stitch missing and the whole thing was just thrown.
Yep. Then it's all shifted, right?
It's fine. Also at my guild, I did a workshop. This is a sewing finish, not a stitching finish.
It's still
It's a well, I hand stitched
not
it, so it's
cross
stitching.
stitching.
But I went to a workshop where we made a pillowcase with uh cording piping and a zipper on the back. So this is the pillow. It's very wonky, but
Oh,
it's
it's perfect because
when
once you
it's
fill it, you
stuffed,
take
you
it.
won't be able to tell. But look, I sewed a zipper. There's a zipper in there, and it opens and everything, and
Yeah.
you can put a pillow in there. And then I learned all about making your own cording and your own piping. Piping is when there's material over it.
Yeah.
Cording is the thing that's on the inside. And so you can make your own piping with like bias tape. And then she taught us a trick where you sew a piece of bias tape at the top, and then you just meet your two pieces together, and then you flip your bias tape over it and stitch it. And then it's like a perfect seam. Works very well. She's very smart. So now I can make a million more pillows using this pattern. And then
I'm
eventually
just super impressed that you hand stitched that whole thing.
in a church, we started at 10 a.m. The class ended at 2:30 with a half-hour break for lunch, and then I finished it like over the next hour. I just did the outside stitching because that was the last part. Everything else was done. So about
Yeah,
5 hours.
super impressive. Yeah.
Very impressive. And as
I would
promised,
never. I would just never. I have a machine for that.
well, if you can stitch it by hand, you can stitch it on a machine. So,
Yeah.
but once you learn how to do it. And then yeah, I also had a very big, good finish. So
So exciting.
this is the Under the Sea Cell from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery that I started on March 31st, 2022.
Oh, you just wait. If you wanna throw some dates, I have some dates for you coming up.
This is one of my oldest whips that I don't think I touched it at all last year. And it had just sat in its bag and was waiting because I really couldn't decide what I wanted to do with these turtles. So once I kind of figured that out, I was off to the races again. And there is supposed to be this border also on the bottom and words that say under the sea, but I really didn't want to stitch all that. So
Doesn't need it.
done.
Doesn't
Look,
need it. It's
it's
perfect.
finished. A completed project. I like how
So
there's like
proud of you.
obviously enough room for that.
I need
But
to apologize for anybody wearing headphones. That was probably really bad of me to clap. Like,
I could barely hear you.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
yeah,
Maybe you
so
muffled it for us. I can
yeah.
I can pull down the
This
volume.
this took a while, this bigger rock down
Big chunk,
here.
yeah.
And then there was all these fishies that I somehow had missed up here that I finally put in.
They're like
And
stitches.
the otters are so cute.
It's all cute. It's
Yeah.
all so cute.
And I really did enjoy stitching this border once, but I wasn't gonna do it again. So, but it's not a bad border. It is nice.
No, it's very cute. I like the bubbles.
But yeah, so that's it.
It looks so good.
And I don't think I'll ever, well, never say never, but those big mystery sales are kind of losing their luster for me. I need to think I should look at an entire project before I commit.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause, yeah. But yeah, that's all my finishes.
Awesome. I also managed to finish a few things. First, I finished my tiny little Alberta from Pigeon Coop Designs that I started when Megan and I were in Banff with Michelle. Um,
Alberta.
so this is, I stitched it over one on, I think it's 25 count.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 25 count. It's so small. Maybe if I do that, that's easier. Um, but it's so cute.
It's so cute.
I
I
have to use
love
the
that blue.
back to get rid of the lines because you can see them behind the lighter colors. I was hoping
Oh yeah.
it wouldn't, but it did. Um, I don't know why I thought it would be any different than it is every other time. But for some reason this time it's like, oh, it's small. It'll be fine. No, it's not fine. You'll see it.
They'll be
Um,
harder to see.
yeah, and then it can go in my cross stitch journal at some point with things from our little retreat that we went to in Banff. A little memories. Um, and then I did my Stitch for Pride November stitching. So this month we learned about Molly Vaughn, who is a trans woman. Um, and her art practice is really focused on commemorating trans folks who are taken too soon, specifically trans women. And she works with families and other loved ones of those women who want to commemorate them in some ways, and does performance art and like textile work to commemorate them. So Dee chose to represent this with a dress and um, different patterning. I'm assuming representing the textile
That's
aspect
really cool.
of
I like
her
the
work.
pattern on the side.
This purple. So I have the official floss set from Jazz at KN Yarns. Um, Jazz goes by the Knitting Nurse KN on Instagram. And they dyed the flosses for D for the 2024 Stitch for Pride. And I was lucky enough to grab a set. They were limited. And then the fabric is Determination from Jessie at Mislaid Pages. I got mine in a 20 count Ada. And it's beautiful. But so we are just missing December.
I like how it's right in the middle.
If you have seen Dee's previews, has this beautiful pink and peach floss.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good. But I can't believe we're almost at the end. Dee has been giving some hints and teasers for 2025. He is working with a different dyer, and they're doing the floss, and then Jesse's doing fabric again for that one.
Oh,
So
okay.
that information will come out at some point in December. So I was saying to Megan just before we started, I'm anxious. I want to make sure that I'm on it. My next little bit at work is going to be hectic, so we'll hopefully
Like
be.
I just said that I'm not doing any mystery styles anymore. This obviously
This
is
is
not
not a mystery. This is
not
you don't
included.
know what it is, but you know it will be good. So that
And
it's
it's
not a
a
mystery. It's an
different kind of,
anticipation cell.
and I think also like the learning and all of that kind of like overrides like
Yeah, yeah,
my
the
own being
learning.
like don't overcommit to things, but like this is a different kind of project. This is not just like me stitching something with for
Yeah, the learning has
yeah.
honestly been amazing.
It's been really cool. I've really enjoyed it.
And like there's usually something where you hear from the artist directly themselves, whether it's
Yeah.
written work or interview or talks or things like that. There's interpretation of their work. There's like a deep dive into their body of work, and both video and written learning. So if you're not a reader, but you want to watch things or vice versa, there's something there for everybody, which is really great, and reflects
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
these personal. Uh,
And it's like stuff that I wouldn't have found on my own. Like I know like as much as I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. I'm not digging around for random trans artists. Like and I was like now I'm like, oh, I should look more into this program. Oh, I should look more into like this exhibit and like stuff that I never would have found.
right, right, and following more people on Instagram, so then you're seeing more of their work, and then you see
Yeah. And like
other
the people
things,
that
right?
they
Like
work with and
exactly, right? Like it expands your horizons a lot. So
Mhm.
don't sleep on Stitch for Pride 2025. Even if you don't want to do the stitching, the learning
It's worth it.
with it is worth it.
So worth it.
Um,
And the stitching is good.
the
And
stitch,
it's not that much. Like it's not big pieces, but
yeah, they're great. Okay. And then I finished what was my fourth oldest whip, which was Jackalopian Tapestry from Lindy Stitches.
oh,
I still haven't figured out my lightings in the basement. I should also learn from Megan and use clips, but you live, you learn. There, that's straight, right?
mhm.
Um, and so I started this on July 13th in the year of our Lord 2021.
Wow.
4.5 years ago, folks.
4.5 years ago.
4.5, 3.5 years ago. Yeah, 3.5. Math is hard.
We're not quite in 2025 yet.
Yeah, yeah. And not the end of 2025. But still, I picked this up. It took me 3 days to finish it.
I
I worked
mean,
on it for like 1 day last year, not a big amount,
yeah,
but otherwise, right? Like 3 days.
yeah. I mean, this one took
Why did
37 hours, so
it
it
was
was
a
going to
bigger
take a
project?
while.
Yes. I don't count in hours, so 3 days. I don't know
Yeah.
what that is. Some days I stitch 20 minutes, some days I stitch, 10 hours. It depends. But look at that.
It
The
looks good.
rabbit
I love that border.
shell is in a dinky dye silk.
Um,
There are some flosses in here that I no longer use, but I was not on that bandwagon when I bought the kit because I got the full kit when this came out.
yeah,
And I love it. I love it so much.
it's really good. It looks really good.
That border was a lot of fun to stitch. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a cool border.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like it when it's not the same thing, right? Because it would have looked equally cool with any one of those around the whole thing. But doing four different ones meant that you didn't get bored of stitching it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm very happy to have that done. I believe I have a frame that will fit it already. Oh, I didn't say this is picture this plus chenille is the yellow. It's
Mm,
like this nice pale yellow. I
yeah.
think this was a 32 count, pretty sure. So I've
Mhm.
got a nice chunk there that I can use for something else as well. Um, and that's off of my whip list. So, you know, it won't be in the whip parade this year. It'll be in the finish parade. I have another amazing finish. Let me do it this way. This is Plants and Petrichor from Fine Fog Stitching. So I had done all the frames and shelves and things when we were in Alberta, and I had started on the storm. And then I didn't do very much on it. And then the last drop came out. And so that week I finished it,
Mm, yeah.
everything, which
That
is
looks
pretty
so
much
good.
what I did with its friend, femurs and fungi.
Oh my God, it's right there.
And
Like the longest wall
I,
ever.
yeah, right? Like, I'm like, how high are the ceilings in this house? But I am very
It's an
pleased.
old manor. That's
Yeah,
why
I'm
that's high
very
ceiling.
pleased with my decision to put it on one piece.
Yeah,
Now
it looks really cool.
I'm not sure if I will look
It,
for a frame. It'll be kind of an odd size in a frame, or if I'll do some sort of soft finish with it. But I love it so much.
it looks like it was designed to be like that. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
fits together so well.
yeah. Um, I
And your
just
fabric is so good. What is your fabric?
it is a bee stitch me. It came in a Halloween box. I don't know if it had a name. I don't have a tag for it. If it had a name, it's gone to the wayside. But it's a 20 count Ada. So I used
Hmm.
the called for DMCs, 1/1. This looked mushy when I was stitching it, but like you put in that last color and it becomes a face.
A face. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if you did it in different color order, if it would make
Oh,
a difference. I forget. I don't know which one I did. There's like 5 or 6 different grays in that. But yeah, it didn't look like much. It didn't look like much, and then all of a sudden it was a full face.
that's like the same thing that Helen was saying about like that bone up there, that it was
Oh
just
yeah,
like,
the bones. You do the bones and then you add in the dark gray and the black, and you're like, oh, I see what you're going
oh,
for. Yeah, it's lovely. I love it. It will
yeah,
go
like,
in the pile of finishes. I also, speaking of 2021, finished my 6th oldest whip, which was Love You. A waffle lot, I think is what the pattern's called. It's a hands-on design. Um, it is I should have. I don't have the pattern out. You're meant to do a top and a bottom and a side and make a little like pincushion mattress finish
mhm.
thing with it. Um, I started stitching it because I got it and I just started it. And then I was like, I don't need that little mattress thing. But I wanted to finish the top because it is very cute.
It is super cute.
So this will
You
go in
were
the journal at some
pretty
point.
far on it.
No, I had the outside border and I had
Oh, okay.
started. There's an inner pink line around the border. That's all I had done.
Oh, okay.
The heart might have been there too. Like I completed the dark pink.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stitching
There's a
left.
lot of stitching left. Yeah.
Yeah,
That looks good.
but it's lovely.
Oh, wow.
That one took a little bit longer because I stitched it mostly on work days. So it was like 5 or 6 days maybe. But
Mhm.
like, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there.
And she gets done.
And it's done. Off the list. Then my next one was a SAF, but it was a round robin SAF. So the finish will be leaving my home if we ever have postal service again. I shouldn't say that. Um, I would like them to get, you know,
When
better pay and
they
a
are
provided pension.
satisfied with their contract
Yes. Yeah.
and we can resume
Yeah.
postal service.
Yes. I'm not
We
seeking
support
alternate.
workers' rights to strike.
Yes, I'm not seeking alternate shipping for things that I do not need.
Yeah.
Because if I do not need it, I don't need to subvert the postal system being on strike by using shipping providers that I choose not to use when the postal system is working. Um, yeah,
Anyway, this is really good.
yeah. More people should strike more.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone go on strike.
Yep,
We'll support
yep.
you.
Um, except maybe at my place of employment because I would have to cross the strike line because I'm exempt, which
It's awkward.
don't become important at work, people. Don't do it. But this is Forest Path by Ink Circle. So this is Pam of Hobbies and Hyper Focus. Also Soulful Whimsy on Instagram. So this was the last of my second most magnificent Ink Circle round robin group. Pam did some color changes from the original.
Mhm.
So she pulled in this turquoise and purple, and it really makes it pop. And then this is a variegated DMC. It's like 200, 212 or something like that, I think. I
That green, that like light to
like
dark
yeah,
green.
right. So that's just
It
one
looks so
floss.
cool like
It looks
that.
very cool. So um and so I was the last one to stitch it, and I'm just it just we're stitchers. We all know it feels nice to pet the stitches.
Mhm.
Um the like the amount of people, because other forest paths have made their way through the round robins, right? So a lot of us have been stitching a quarter of this pattern, if not more lately.
Mhm.
It is so nice to stitch. So I did the dark brown outline of the maze, the path first. And then it was just color completion. And I saved the green for the last to fill in, but it was just like it was a delight. It was quick. I did this one like in like 3 days or something like that as well. Um, I just I might invest in this pattern for myself. I don't know if I'm gonna do another Ink Circles round robin um next year, but it would
Might still
definitely
be
be
doing the one
oh,
I'm in now next year.
you might be. That's a
I,
very good point. So
I
that
told
will
her
live with me.
as long as it takes, I will still stitch. I'm in it till it's all done. So
Yeah, that will live with me until the strike is over, and then it will go live with Pam. And at some point, I assume I will.
whenever they can mail stuff to me.
Yeah. And then I have a big finish as well. Um, I was supposed to go away for 2 weeks, or like part of 2 weeks, this month for work, and this was going to be my travel piece for both of those. And then my first one did not happen because my plane was canceled. And I found out because I checked the app at 3:30 in the morning when I woke up, because I was like, if my plane is delayed, which is what I thought would be happening, I can go back to sleep for half an hour or whatever, right?
Hmm.
And then it was canceled. And then it took like almost an hour to talk to the people on the phone. And in that time, I'm looking for other options, and there was no options until the day I came back. But then I found out that folk like I was gonna fly on like Monday, Tuesday, I don't know, and then people were gonna fly the next day. Um, and I live in a part of the world where small planes are what you travel in. One of the airlines, the airline that they were on, up the size of their plane, like last minute.
Oh, okay.
If they had done that 2 days earlier, I would have bought a ticket and been on that plane. But yeah, it is what
Some
it is. It is what it is. So I only went away for 1 week, but I got so close while I was done, partly because my 1 week got extended. Um, my stay got extended, so I had more time for hotel stitching, because you stitch more in the hotel than you do at home, because there's no home things to do. And I finished my From Yalda to Nauru's, which, let's get this really close here. There. Was a mystery stitch along from your friend and ours, Marumi Craft Designs, Miriam. That started last Yalda, which is the winter solstice, and went until Nowruz, which is the start of spring. And Miriam gave us a new band roughly every week. There were some times that we didn't get a new band because she was doing things like going on a cruise with Megan.
Yeah.
Um, and that border, we got the border when you bought the pattern. I didn't start the border until I started the pattern. I was like, oh, it'll be easy. I'll just keep up with it as I do. I fell right off. I got the first couple bands done when they were released. I think one and two, maybe three, and then life fell apart. I fell apart. Everything fell apart. It's been a year. I can't believe it's almost at the end. Um,
Yeah.
I chose colors with my heart as I went. I love it so much. When I frame it, I'm gonna put a little thing on the back that reminds me of the different symbolism and stories that Miriam shared with us as the inspiration for each of the bands. Some of them, this was a mashup. She gave us two for this one, and I couldn't pick between the Rams and the Roosters, so I put both in. This one, she had different couples represented, and a person with a cat who I believe is meant to be her cat. But I deliberated on it for a long time, and finally I decided to put our little family in. So I've got a little badger, a little Zizzy, slightly bigger than the badger, just like real life, and then I put a little boss in with his little,
He's so
little white
cute.
spots and his little white end of his nose.
Yeah,
I
they
did
look
those
so
last.
cute.
I did those this morning. But every single band was a delight. Ah, I could see that happening. Was a delight to stitch. There's a couple more alternatives that I didn't put in here. Miriam did also at the end give us a border if we wanted to turn any of the bands into like a single piece or a bookmark or something. So I might do um, some of those at some point, but I'm so happy with this. Um, I might, I don't know. I'll measure it and I'll see how big it is. I might go to the framers with this one just because
Oh,
it's so nice. I think it deserves something really flashy,
yeah,
and I can't get flashy on the shelf. So I don't know. We'll see. For now, it's done. Which
yeah,
now I've got to find a new like go-to travel piece.
yeah,
This was especially the border was really good for travel. Because you just
yeah. 'Cause you can
do a
just like,
rhythm doing those
yeah,
flowers. Um, and yeah, I stitched it all in hand, so that also helped
hmm,
it be a travel piece. But it's come all sorts of places to me with me. Been on many planes. So that was my finishes.
beautiful.
I
You
know
did so much.
I did. Partly I was away, and partly my husband was away. I stitch more when he's away too.
Yeah, that's
Thank
fair.
you.
All right. Awesome.
Did you start anything this month?
I did start something. So, firstly, I started my Quirky Quaker snail. So, I have four more Quirky Quakers to finish out the year. And no, sorry, I finished the snail. I started the fishbone. So, this one was a freebie.
So good.
I believe it's still accessible on the Darling and Whimsy website. It's not on her Etsy store.
No,
It
this is a
is free. So this one was my something blue. So I'm doing it all in this blue from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. And
nice.
this is another ornament cut from Kaylee the Song Shop. So I started that right away when I finished my snail. And then I still have three more after that. So I have the two for November and the two for December. And then I will have completed my Quirky Quaker Whip Go for the year. And those are quick. And then I did have a birthday, which means I got a birthday star. And if you watched our last video, you'll know that I got this project kitted up by Kaylee at the sewing shop. I should say who designed this pineapple.
And that's like you asked her to kit it, but it's not one that she normally sells, right?
No, I had to send
Oh.
her the
Like a
flosses.
PSA for people too is that
Yeah,
she sells these amazing kits, but she will also happily take your money to kit it for you.
and look at all
And
this.
like she makes a good kit. She does these awesome floss cards.
Hence why I wanted her to do it and not me. I was like, yeah, I was like, I definitely want a kit from you. I was like, the one that I'm thinking of has like 50 colors though. Like, is that too much? Like, tell me if that's too much. And she was like, oh no, that's fine. And then when she was giving it to me, she was like, it had a lot of colors. It's like, yeah.
Yes, that is what I said.
She's like, it's not very big. And I was like, I know. So she dyed fabric special for it, which she now sells. It's called Pickle Juice. And this is my start. So this is the entire width of that pineapple. It's not big.
Wow.
This is a huge piece of I gave myself a bigger border than I normally do because I think I'm gonna frame it with like a lot of the extra fabric.
It's
So this is
gorgeous
like a
fabric.
3 inch, like a 3 inch border here. And I really wanted to just keep stitching on this, but I had so much other stuff that I also really wanted to do. So I made myself put it down, but I think I'm gonna work on it a little bit more because I really loved working on it. So I
Mhm.
just did this blue line and then a bunch of the letters.
That font looks like it's actually not too terrible to stitch too.
No, it's actually not too bad.
I'm
There's
not
some
I'm
back
not a word
stitching
person.
over the letters. There's a lot of back stitching to like make the shape of the pineapple and stuff, but it's really pretty. And this fabric is so so cool. I love it.
Mhm.
And it's in my pineapple bag.
Love it.
That's why it's on the giant key snap because I
Love it so much.
can fit it in this giant bag. This is like 11 by 11. All right. And then what else did we start? So I think I talked about this on the last episode as well, that I agreed to do a stitch along with the Hathaway Stitchers, Erin and Amity. We chose this project at
And if
Stitch
you're
Along.
stitching with them, that means they're our friends, right?
Yeah, we're fully their friends. They know who we are. We're all.
Surprise!
But yeah, so this is the Pink Bunny Sal, hence the Pink Bunny. So I started this on November 4th, and I finished this tree. Pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do my little bunny and whatever else. This is also a fabric from Kaylee at the sewing shop. This is mint strawberry. This is 16? 16? Yeah. And this needle minder is by Megan.
Oh yeah, I made that.
Yeah.
Neat.
And this also has a lot of, I chose my own colors, all from stuff that I bought at the retreat. So
Nice. Your own
just
convert.
going ham on that. And my last start was also a stitch along because I won one of the auction prizes from Michelle Bendy Stitchy, which was awesome. Coffee Quaker by
Heartstring sampler.
Heartstring Samplers.
Oh, you just said don't tell me.
She's right. Heartstring
That's
Samplers.
the one.
And I got this whole kit from Michelle with her conversion. And this this fabric is a 36 count even weave. And there's my tiny little start. I can't remember who makes this.
Was the
Not,
fabric not a Be Stitch Me one?
no,
Oh, I thought she pulled stuff from the coffee box for that. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else.
I thought she did, but the hmm, doesn't. But I had it on. Oh, haha, it's still on there. Okay, Silk Weaver, Silk
Oh,
Weaver fabrics.
clearly I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen.
Yeah, I was like, there was a piece of paper that said it. It was a sticker. It's still on there. Golden Harvest, 36 count Modena from Silk Weaver fabric.
I'm
And
gonna
then
do
this
that
is
stitch along too, but I'm waiting until Megan gives me the pattern.
And then yeah, there's the conversion, the floss conversion. This is all classic colorworks. And the reason that I got suckered into starting this now and not just like letting it sit in my kit box for days and days and weeks and months. Was because Helen, the Diddy Stitcher, and her friend, follow her now. I'm sorry. Um, Her friend also both had it and they both also started it. So now we're all stitching it too.
Helen the Diddy Stitcher, the bad
Helen, the Diddy
influence.
Stitcher. And then another person. And I even got these nice scissors with a little coffee.
Lovely.
And when I was grabbing this to start stitching it, I was like looking all over because all of my scissors are in like other project bags right now. And I was like, why don't I have any more scissors? And then I finally grabbed one from a different bag and then went into this and realized there was scissors in here all along.
These things happen.
Because Michelle thinks of everything.
Yeah. A bendy box.
It was a full box.
Complete box.
And that is all my starts.
Nice. Nice. I only have one start. So my forest path was a SAF, and my Stitch for Pride was a SAF. But other than that, the only other thing I've started is that I've jumped on the tail end project bandwagon. So if you don't know what a tail end project is, Michelle has been doing these, and more people are doing these, and people are releasing patterns specifically for these now. But essentially, you take a pattern, and then as you're working on a project and you finish using a color, you put what's left of that color into your tail end project. So I thought it would be fitting for my first tail end project to be a Michelle pattern. So I'm stitching Odd World. This has been in my stash for a while. It says the world is odd, but sometimes wonderful and sometimes wonderful. And really that's still true. Odd is maybe not the word I used. Fucked up. Might be more accurate these days, but it is also still sometimes wonderful. So I'm stitching this on Jupiter, 18 count from Kaylee at the sewing shop.
Ooh, I like that.
And so these are just colors as I finished my from Yalda to Naruth that I have been adding in here. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it looks really good. I like it already. That'll be a great tail end.
Yeah. So you'll be seeing lots of that because I'll be stitching it alongside everything else that I'm working on. But that was my only start, which
Wow.
I finished 7 things. 2 of them are SAPs because Stitch for Pride Stitch Along counts as 12, but also only 1 on the whip list. 12 finishes, 1 whip.
I'm just counting it as one whip, but I'm also like months behind. So if
Yeah.
I was caught up, I would consider it a finish for now. But I'm not finished for now because I have lots more to stitch.
Yeah.
So
But
people
so
who are caught up are finished.
so like my net total, like in terms of things that are actually on my whip list, I finished 6 things. 5 things? 5 things because there's still one more month of Stitch for Pride.
Yeah.
And I only started 1. I think this is the only month this year where I have finished more than I started that weren't SAFs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you'll do like a bunch of SAFs and then like a couple days,
Yeah, I'll do like
then you'll start like
on the
3 things.
small things instead of working on all these things that I love. I'll just be like, oh, I'm just going to start this, and
Who
then
would do that?
right? So
Crazy.
I've been doing the reason I stitched on those 2 older projects is that I made a wheel, and so I've been
Yeah.
and so I'm working out. You'll see what came up next in my pile here, but I think I might. I've been thinking about, so Helen has her magnet system,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean she changes up how she does her magnets, but I think I'm going to do that because what I do is I just forget. So I have a whip list in my planner, but unless I open it and look at it, I'm not sitting down here staring at those, so I just forget that they exist. They just go into the black hole of nothingness. So I want the board so I can see the things,
Yeah.
much more clearly see what I have and haven't worked on, and then use dice to do the picking rather than the wheel. The wheel isn't very fun.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
I
the dice would be cool. I have lots of dice. I have lots of like
think.
D&D dice and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
So
good idea. I was thinking of doing because next year I also want to like finish all the whips. And I was gonna like divide them into like categories and then like spin a wheel based on like, okay, working on an Ada project or like a linen project or like something monochrome or like whatever. So I'm still kind of doing like what I was doing this year with WhipGo where I get to like choose things based on like a prompt, but
yeah,
then yeah, but I could do dice because I could roll for like category and then roll within that category.
yeah,
That would be interesting.
that would be. And the wheel does like, because I have not done exactly what the wheel told me to do. If I don't want to stitch, but it suggests I do spin it again. Not like the
Yeah,
hobby.
you're not beholden to the wheel.
Yeah,
The wheel
but
works for you.
it then at least is picking from the things that aren't at the like forefront of my mind. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not going to spin a wheel with 65 things on it.
yeah, yeah.
I want to have a little bit more control over what I'm doing.
I'm
So,
still stitching on other things, as you will see momentarily too, right? Like I'm picking up other things for reasons. Sometimes just because and sometimes for reason.
yeah.
So it's not the only thing that I'm stitching either. So yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking
agreed.
of, did you stitch on anything else this month?
I did. I stitched on three other things.
Let's see them.
So, I had I had started this Duckworth Street sampler, and I had actually triple dipped this on the Pick a Whip thing because it was uh, a stash start, an AIDA project, and something with a building on it. Three things that fall in this category. And then I also stitched on it for Dee's birthday,
Oh,
which is
so that you could
flip
D
Dee
bird.
the bird
I
sound.
also flipped the bird. I will show
And I
that.
was like, because I totally forgot about it, and then I saw your
Oh,
bird thing that morning, and then I was like, oh, I should really do that. And then I was like, what do I have that's like got birds on it that I want to stitch on? Um, that has anything. I mean, it didn't have to be a D project, but I was like, if I have something, and then I was like, this one has birds.
yeah.
It has a turn. It has two turns. I
Right
only did one so far.
flipping D off right there.
Yeah. So I finished that whole bird. I was pretty much done. Like I had like put this away, and then I got it out again to put the bird on.
It's perfect.
And then I did a little bit more of my. This is the number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now this is like really commemorative because that shop is, well, we don't know exactly what's happening, but for now it is closed, which is sad, but understandable because a lot
British
of
Needle aren't gone. They've just closed their physical
a
retail.
physical brick and mortar shop at this
Still
location.
online. Still
Yeah,
on.
yeah. There's been a lot of curveballs thrown the way of that team, so
Yeah.
I kind of understand.
It's been a year for them.
Yeah, but
But
anyway, this will always exist.
yeah.
And we will remember fondly when they had a store for that brief time in 2024.
Yeah.
And then they will have a store again
And
someday.
yeah, we'll see.
We
We'll see
just
what
don't know where and when. But I have faith.
me too.
And then I also worked on my Stitch for Pride. As I said, I am not finished, but I did finish my October one. I'll just hold this up. So here it is.
Ah,
Here's
looks
October. So
the
good.
contrast in that one. Like
Yeah, it's really
and
fun.
so I found the October floss to be very interesting. Like if you hold yours up again, and I mean we're not in the same room, our light is not the same, but the floss came out like it looks so much lighter on yours than on mine.
And this is the exact floss,
Yeah.
not just like the
It,
same color, but the same piece of
It's
floss
the
that
same
we
thing.
separated.
Yeah, we shared. We shared. So it's
Yeah.
not like it's from a different dye lot. So it's
No.
amazing. It's just
Or
amazing.
like a different skein, because some people
Yeah,
had skeins that were like totally different, like
yeah,
the same skein and everything. Yeah. It's weird how much lighter it was.
yeah.
And then I did my face in this is a Rolanda that I picked up at Stitch North. It's kind of like blue and black and brown and yeah.
Yeah, it looks
I
good.
like really cool. This one was really fun to stitch, especially once I got the hang of the bottom part here and I could just like zoom 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 down. Um yeah. And I did the learning for September, so I'm going to start that next. And I've double, triple, quadruple counted, and it will fit perfectly across here. And then because I think this space is bigger than what we need for December, I might put November here because it looks wider, but I haven't decided yet. But either way,
I mean,
September's going to go
you will
here.
know tomorrow what
Yeah,
the actual size of December is. So,
yeah.
yeah,
And
you'll
then
be able to
I'm
make
gonna
that decision
do
with all the information.
and then I'm gonna do like because I still have to do July and August. I'm gonna do like July, August, either November or December, and then kind of like
Yeah.
play in that area.
Mhm.
But yeah, for now, September, I'm gonna start today.
Gonna look great.
I kind of like how mine turned out. I like that it's different.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I totally could have just done it
Samplered your
upper
sample.
way, even though I didn't put my fabric the right way. It still totally would have fit. It would have been fine.
Not talking about it,
But
but yours is wider than mine. Like
yeah,
you definitely had enough room.
was what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Like that's it doesn't matter. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's just like it's so funny.
Sometimes,
So I was like,
sometimes I
oh
think
no,
the
my fabric is wrong. I have to
sometimes I think
change.
it changes size. Sometimes I think you've done all your counting and then
Yeah.
somehow it's a different size after that. Anyway,
Anyway, it's fine. I love it. It's gonna look awesome.
yeah, it's beautiful.
The bottom will be fine. It'll be a little bit shorter or like thinner on the bottom because there's only three, but whatever. It'll be good. I might just like spread them out or do extra rows or something. Who knows? All right. So then I also worked on this was also a whip go call. I think it was just one. It was the full coverage whip go call. And this is also one of my oldest whips. I keep forgetting that I don't have an actual picture of this one, but I can show you this little sign here at the bottom. So that's Patchwork Turtle by Amanda Butler. And I have done this much.
You did so much of the
This,
shell, so much.
this is a page finish here. This
Yay!
page is done. All of this. And then this. So his shell will kind of come up this way. So I think there's less stitching
Yeah,
left
it's gonna
in
get
here
smaller. Yeah.
than what I've already done. Yeah, because it's going to kind of slant down. And then there's a lot of back stitching because there's back stitching all in his feetsies and his face. And then over the shell, like each section has like a little line dividing it.
It'll make it pop when you had
Yeah,
that.
it'll look really cool. Like I'm gonna do it. It's just a lot. But yeah, I
It,
think it looks so
stitching
good.
is just half of a cross stitch. That's all it is. It's fine.
And I'm just in love with these colors. It's been so fun to work on that.
So good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm this one is gonna be one of the first ones that I'm gonna push for a finish, I think in the new year, because I really don't have that much left in the grand scheme of things. Like that was 10 hours. And I basically had none of the shell done. I had one
A
little
little.
section up here. Yeah, like a tiny little section and this like orange part. That was it. Everything else was brand new. So I can do it. I
You
can do it.
can do it. You can.
And it's also because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to switch colors all the time. But now I'm doing where I just pull one strand and double it, and that's usually enough. like I'll do like a loop start, and even though it's like smaller, it's like because there's smaller sections, it's usually enough to clear like a good chunk of that color, and then I'll move on to the next one. So it's actually been a pretty good system.
You could also pre-do your needles with all the different colors you're going to use, and then that
That's
feels.
what I was doing when I was working on the Under the Sea one because there was a lot fewer of each color. But this one, like, there's still like some pretty sizable chunks. So, but we'll see as we get to some of the other sections.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I usually have more than one needle sitting around anyway. So
Fair enough.
yeah, that's all I worked on. Just those three things. Lots of work on those three things, but
I have a few whips that I worked on. So I worked just a little bit more on my Van Gogh Never Met the Fellowship. I can't even really tell you what. I'm pretty sure the yellow wasn't in there. Just added one yellow.
yeah, that looks
All
fun.
I'm doing is, so I've got my bag of all my flosses. And so right now I'm pulling a skein, I'm putting it on a floss drop, and then I'm taking one length of it and putting it in.
Hmm.
And that's how I'm going. There's no purposeful picking. Um, the end result is at the back. It's a hot mess, but I don't really care. I will stitch over all of that eventually. And it's either carry things really far or start and stop a bunch. And I'd rather carry things really far. Full coverage, fine.
I feel like I would probably do the same.
If it is like a tapestry when it's done, that's fine. Tiny little
Yeah,
tapestry, thick, stand up on its own. That'll be great.
absolutely.
I just realized I did not grab a couple cover photos. Okay, so this is Stardust by Carriage House Samplings.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so we are Stardust. If you are a Carl
someone else was
Sagan
working on
fan,
this too.
um, and so this is on Wrath, 40 count Wrath, which is dyed by our friend Jesse at Miss Slade Pages. And so that's the top. I got that burb done. I got the
Okay.
moon and the stars, and I got a big start on that tombstone. It is full coverage though, so
Hmm.
I'll just
Hefty.
go in. Yeah, another one where I'm just picking one floss and stitching it till it's done. I'm stitching this, so I'm not using any of the called for. I've got I did pull the DMCs for comparison, but I've pulled then from my hand dye by Rolanda stash for the most part things that match it, and I've got one classic colorworks in there, which is what I
Hmm.
used for the yellow on the eyes. Um,
Oh,
and I think it's the snake too, or the snake is another color. I don't remember, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it. Pick it up every now and again. Um, 2 weeks ago, we did
yeah.
fellowship on Zoom. 2 weeks, I think. So I worked on my Namarie tapestry, and then I've worked on it a smidge since then. So I've got part of the snake dragon over here. I'm not even going to pull up the cover photo. But for that, I worked on bringing down the border and bringing it across. And then I got to the other end, and it didn't line up by one, not two, because I'm stitching over two, by one, one hole. So I had to backtrack like a third of the way back across the border to find where I had gone over three by mistake and then pull it back over. So then I decided I was done working on white once I got that situation fixed. So I went and worked on the snake dragon again. I put it on a smaller thing because I have a Lowry stand upstairs now, and I haven't been working on it upstairs because I've been working on it mostly exclusively down here.
Yeah.
And my lap stand can hold the bigger Q snap, like it's not perfect, but it holds it up. But the Lowry stand did not like the bigger one, so I put it on the smaller.
Okay.
Um, I might try and finish this in December. Um,
I'd
I'm
love
going to
to.
be so I'm being told I have not taken enough days off work and that I have to take more time off.
What a
Well,
tragedy.
but you see what happens is that I take time off work and then I work, so then I reduce the number of hours that I have taken as leave because I have not been on leave because I have worked, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's the time like when we were in Alberta, I didn't take that at all because I had worked already that month, probably double the number of hours I'm supposed to work in a month, right? Like,
Yeah.
so there's that too. So I'm gonna be off for 2 weeks, but I think I have to look at my calendar, but I think I might be off even a little bit before that. Like I might be off from like the 18th or 19th until the 6th.
Wow, nice.
Um, and if I do that, I feel like this will be no problem at all to get done.
Yeah, totally.
However, it feels a little stressful taking that off because of all sorts of other things going on. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have two
Yeah.
weeks to decide what I'm going to do there. I will be off for 2 weeks for sure, and then we'll see.
I think you can do it. I believe in
Finish it or take time off.
you. Both.
I I feel stronger about one than the other, and it's not the stitching. No, the other. I don't feel strong about the not stitching. I feel like I can complete the stitching. So I also flipped Dee the Bird by stitching on Toonies, which is a pattern, a collaboration from Dee and Uncanny Kari. So Kari does beautiful art, and then Dee translates it into the cross stitching. Kari also designs her own patterns. Dee designs his own patterns, but they do these collaborations. So this is Toonies, which was an exclusive for Stitch North 2023,
Yeah.
but you can buy the PDF.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's both on Dee's Ko-fi and Uncanny Kari's website, but definitely Kari's website.
Definitely on Kari's website. I
Um,
don't know if it's on the
I
Ko-fi.
don't, I don't, I don't honestly know, but you can get it as a PDF, and Brin and Needle should have hard copies, but right now Canada Post doesn't work. So, but if you're a hard
Yeah.
copy,
And
and
they haven't been able to get alternative methods where they are,
oh,
so
they might. I'm honestly not. You
no, they sent a
know,
message
it's
saying,
really good for impulsive shopping.
yeah.
Not wanting to put anything in postal.
Hence why this is a almost completely haulless video.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably not a bad thing.
But I'm stitching this with the called for Brin and Needle flosses. And I got all those stripes, and it's looking so good.
That
So
looks really good.
thanks for the excuse to pull this out, Dee. I love it.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. Happy last day of your birthday month to you and to Megan.
Right.
And
You
then
start.
the next up on my whip wheel of shame,
Oh, this one.
technically something else came out first, and I said, I don't want to stitch that right now. And so I'm stitching this. So this is from Kaylee at the sewing shop. That's the place, the showingshop.ca. This is artwork by Brooklyn Stormy, who is a Canadian illustrator, um, who sells prints and things, but like not online as far as I know. I
Hmm,
don't know.
interesting.
She's posting about like stuff she has for Christmas markets, but anyways, um, I also haven't looked into it too hard. There's just no link on her website. But I have the background removed kit because I'm stitching this on a piece of 18 count fabric from Kaylee. It's not named, but it came in my kit. And so it's with DMC. Kaylee did all the floss. I don't have it, but it's like what Megan showed on those floss cards. And so I've put in a little bit more in this area. I had this, but this is where the lad's face goes. So
Oh, okay.
when you don't have to stitch all that background, you can plug along pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I have a couple more colors to put back in over here, but yeah, I mean that caterpillar is going to take some time, but
Hmm.
um, when I
Well,
started it, my plan was to stitch all of the trees first, but I think I'm just gonna page complete because otherwise I have to count really far. Plus, I can put his little face in,
Mhm.
and then he can stare at me while I stitch. Right? How he
Perfect.
go wrong. So that's what I'm going to work on for the next little while. Um, other than I'm also going to start today my quarter of Michelle Maine Moose Mama's um, Carolyn Manning pick, which is Sweetheart, which I showed, I believe, in our last video um, that I had gotten it. So I have to stitch my quarter for that, and then it will be ready to go in the mail when the mail goes again to go back to Michelle. Danielle finished my Carolyn Manning and looks fantastic. And it just lives with her now until it can come back to me. But yeah, so that's all the stitching I did this month, which feels like a lot
You
after
did do
the
a
last.
lot. I feel like I did a lot too.
Yeah, so
I was working a lot less this these past few weeks because we're just it's slower. We haven't needed
yeah.
that many. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
just
I
working.
did manage to stitch every day this month, which I haven't since I think June because of how work has been. So
I definitely missed a few days, but then I also stitch a lot when I go to my guild meetings because I'm there like all day, which I won't be able to do for a few months, but that's okay. So, yeah, it's been good.
if you remain an office worker, you can just take off work on guild days so that you can still
I
go.
can. I didn't want to do that for a
No,
temporary
not for the
job.
not for this
Yeah,
occasion, but if you
yeah.
if you stay
If
in.
I get it, if yeah, like if it's like a full-time like thing, then I'll be like, what are my options with that?
Yeah,
I do have a lot of vacation time still, so
yeah,
I'm sure they won't mind me taking the occasional day off and
hopefully.
listening that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I don't have
Um,
any haul, but
I
I do have
have
one
I
thing.
have one haul thing. So
Yeah.
you want to show what you have first?
So it is the 50th anniversary of the Toronto Guild of Stitchery. And so we are making Biscornus.
A bounty of them, it says.
Bounty of Biscornus. So they gave me a whole kit.
Oh,
Look at all that nice floss. I got some threadworks in there. I got some Splendor floss. I don't even know what that is. That looks like silk. Something metallic down here. I think a Krynic, yeah, a Krynic. And then some DMC. And then some
little
nice linen.
star buttons.
Yeah. So I haven't even opened this yet and looked at like the patterns, but since I was gonna like take a look at it since I'll be around next weekend because it's the Jingle Ball next weekend. If you're
Mhm.
gonna be at the Jingle Ball, hit me up. Uh yeah, so I thought I'd work on this a little bit and yeah, and then try my hand at assembling a Biscornium.
Nice.
I'm sure I'll be able to do it. I just have never done it before. So there will be some learning involved. But based on the other sewing that I've done this month, I think I'll be okay. But yeah, yeah, that's the only thing I've acquired in the last month.
I got a box from the Witchy Stitcher, which I did an unhinged unboxing for. So if you have not watched that yet and you want to see what was in that,
It's
um,
a good box.
on our channel, it's a very good box. She said that they were going to be her last boxes that she does, and so she's still going to be kitting things. Just the boxes are a lot of work. Like a lot of the extras that are in there, she also makes herself.
Hmm.
Mom made some of them, and some of them they made together. Like it's not like other boxes where they procure from other small makers to fill the box. She does the making for the most part, so I can see why they were a lot of work to put together. But I was very pleased with the contents of my box. Um, and the fabric that is in there is Rwanda fabric, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I hope for
I was like,
others who
what?
did
And then I
not
was
get it that
like,
it's not an exclusive one and that she dyes it for her shop or something similar. She does a lot of
she
just
does a lot of
nice
opalescent.
things, right? So And then squeaking in just under the postal wire, like literally, I think it was either 1 or 2 days before the strike started, was an order from Kaylee. So I got my fabric of my month and bag of the month, as well as I had ordered a couple things. So she restocked some of these really cute fabrics. So I jumped on it because they usually sell out pretty quick. It has a
Those
little
are so cute.
butterfly thing and those little animals. So pretty.
Mm.
So pretty. And she put in her store mini bags. So she's
Yes.
had
Oh
these
my God.
at Stitch North and things like that, but they finally made it into the shop. And so I got a couple
Those are so
little
cute.
ones. I haven't messaged her yet, but I might see if she will do mini bag of the month next year. Because I have so many bags. And if I'm trying to have less projects,
Yeah.
I will then have more bags that are empty. But these ones can hold things and live inside the big ones, or they're good for just taking off a really small project with you, right? So
Hmm. Yeah, like if you're doing like, just like a quirky breaker or something and you're like stitching in hand and you just like shove it in
all
there.
you need. That's all you need. Or if you are a tiny stitcher, that's why she first made these tiny ones because our friend Nati asked her to make tiny bags.
For her like 2 inch
Yeah, for
bead snap or whatever.
your tiny stitching. But yeah. And then my fabric of the month was Cruella, as in the.
Oh, the Dalmatian one. Yes, this one's good. Yeah.
So this is a
Found that
nice
on the website.
grungy blue,
Yeah.
gray, black. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's really
So
good.
18 count Ada. Everything's blowing out. It's too light.
Ooh.
So that will go in the stash, and I'm sure I will find the perfect project for it. And
Hmm.
then my bag. You can put cats in boxes.
Oh, cute. I
There was
love
a
that.
cat game like 10
Yeah, where you like the cats are like in a
the
row.
Neko
Like,
Asumi or whatever, where you're taking care of the
yeah,
cats. It reminds me a lot.
that's totally what it, yeah, that's totally what it reminds
I
me
don't
of.
know 100%. I'd have to go look if that. I don't think they're the same, but it's very similar.
Pretty, yeah, it's pretty dang similar.
Cat
Oh, that's cute too.
background. And she put on a handle, and it's cat shaped.
Oh.
Um, yeah, she's trying that out for handles. Uh,
Hmm.
so I should put some weight in there and see how it goes. She's got a tab that's sewed in there to see
Hmm.
if it can handle it. But it's so cute. Love it.
That's a good bag.
I love it. That's all the haul
Wow.
because the the bringers of the haul are on strike. Uh, my hotel room this week, um, the window, like you looked out into the like back parking lot of the Canada Post, and they looked very cold. They had a
Yeah.
they had a fire and whatever, right? But it didn't look pleasant. Um, so they had a warming station, and then they were taking turns walking on the street in front. But I sympathize with anybody who has to go on strike because it's not fun. You do not make very much money, and to make the money, you have to go out regardless of the weather and
Hmm.
do the actual physical striking. And so I hope that they come to a good resolution soon.
I agree. I hope they get whatever they want. I haven't really looked into it so far, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's reasonable
There's
and
a big gap between what they're asking for salary and what they're being offered. Um, there was concerns about their pension um,
oh.
changed and no longer protected. I think that piece they've come to an agreement on, like in favor of what the workers want.
Mhm.
And then the other big thing is that like Canada Post wants to deliver on weekends, but they don't want to employ people who are full time to do that. They want part time people, and then there's not the same benefits and other things.
Oh,
And so
that's
that's one of the big sticking points is that
good. That
they
should be a
don't
sticking point.
want the employer to employ fewer full time people while expanding service. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. Um, plans?
So, Quaker Fishbone. I'll finish that. I'll finish my Stitch for Pride November. Um, and then I have four more. So I have November Whipco stuff and December Whipco stuff to finish. So for November, I don't remember which ones are which because I wrote them all at the same time. But it's going to be two projects. So one of them was a seasonal stitch and something involving birds. So I'm going to do my swans from Cottage Garden sampling. So I'll do 20 hours on those. I think I can get pretty close to a finish. I mean, those are some hefty birds. They might take a while, but it's all like it's not a lot of different colors, so who knows, whatever. Best efforts. And then the second one was an old my oldest whip and a sampler. So I'm gonna do my fruit sampler.
Oh, nice.
And I think in 20 hours I can fully finish it because it was a kit also. Because I think the stitching will not take me 20 hours, but there's also beads. And then it was like a
For putting
finishing.
on like dowels,
Yeah, it
right?
was like a hanging dowel type situation. So, which like won't take a lot of time, but it was just like I'll push myself to finish it if like
Yeah.
that's my plans
If
for
you fully finish that and you still have hours left, will you move on to something else or will you just call it done?
I think no, I'll move on to something else. I'll still do the 10 hours because that's kind of the point. Like I'll decide on like I'll probably do another sampler because I have a lot of samplers
Yeah.
if I have time left over because there's
Nice.
And then for my Quirky Quaker, I have two Christmas ones actually. So the Happy Holidays Patreon one that we got, which is my Something Sparkly, and the stocking, which I think it was like an object or something like that. And I have all of the called for floss for the stocking. I just have to pick fabric. I haven't decided yet. And then the little ghost, which is my something purple, and the fishbone. I think that's it. Just those four. And then I'll be done all my Wicklow stuff.
That's awesome.
And I've decided that I'm finally going to start my Mirabilia. It's going to be my Christmas Day start because I was going to start it last year for my birthday and I ended up starting Thursday instead. And now it's just been sitting there and I have all the stuff for it. And I spent so much money on it. And I really want to do it and finish it so that I can start another one. Uh, so I'm going to do that as a Christmas Day start. And then I've decided that I am going to do a New Year, New Start this year, and I'm going to start fish and chips as well. So I really want to do a long dog. I've wanted to for a really long time. I've seen so many finishes of long dogs, and especially that one lately where I'm like, they look so good. I want one of my own. So, but those are the only other two starts that I'm doing.
Nice.
The Christmas start and a New Year, New Start. And then that's it. You, yeah. No
Um,
more. Don't try to rope me into your cells, people. Uh, but
um, I'm gonna stitch on my Angel of Love with Helen tomorrow.
nice.
So that'll be fun. Get some progress on our angels. Um, I have I have it here. So I have the pattern only of the holiday countdown. I did open it only because I could not find anywhere how big the pattern was. I wanted to have my fabric picked out and ready.
Hmm.
So I looked at day one only. So it doesn't tell me very much. There's only one color worth of stitching on there. But so I've got this mystery 40 count linen that came in a color and cotton grab bag. So it's this really light green. So it's not exactly the same as the turtle dove that we had last year, but it's a very similar, like
Hmm.
it's a similar vibe. I should have grabbed my other finish because I am using last year's colors because you barely touch these. So I stitched the whole thing and I pulled floss from this and sent it to Michelle with the
Hmm.
pattern from last year, the pattern and the other half of the fabric. And look at how
And
much I have left. So I'm going to
so
stitch this year's with it. and maybe next year's, and maybe one after. I don't know. I don't know if I'll keep doing that, but um, because some of them
Are
make
you
it
going
into the
to do?
regular line and some of them don't. So it's not necessarily that people are going to be designing with all of them and stuff. And then like they'll be friends, right? Like they'll be in the same colors. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do it in the same order that they
That's
come
what I was going to ask.
here,
Yeah. Are you going to
or
do
if
like
I'm
day
going to
one, day
choose with
two,
my heart.
based on?
But I don't want to wait. Like I want to do my stitching in the morning, and they do ask that you don't post until like after midday,
Oh, okay.
not spoil the color. And so I'm not gonna wait until I know what that day's color is to do the stitching. So I think I'm just gonna look at the pattern and pick one and sort of then put aside the ones that I've stitched with or mark them or do something, maybe just write down the color name. Um, Rather than doing them in the same order. Because if I just do them in the same order, it might not look nice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm actually stitching, right? Because I imagine there's plant motifs and animal motifs and right, like all the regular Jacob things. So
Hmm. Yeah, like it's been planned for like certain colors.
yeah, but I don't have those colors and I don't know in advance what color might be the most similar from last year's set to this year, right? So I think I'm just gonna take a look at what I'm stitching for that day, pick a color, and see how it goes. And if I ever feel like, oh, I really should have used something different, I can always pick it out and stitch it again. None of them are ever that many colors. So,
Do you know anyone else who's doing it who has the whole kit that could like sneak you a peek of the thing
oh,
like
maybe,
next
but
year?
I'm not too worried about it. But I'm looking forward to doing that. So I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get this on um, my nerd hoop because I think that's the only thing that will hold it, so that I don't have to move it. I can stitch it. Um, the fabric has some tight margins on it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I also have for Advent season that wasn't stuck in the mail because Jazz very kindly sent these to us months ago, and I've been very good. And I haven't peeked other than some of the bags. I'm purposely showing you one side. There are little sneak peeks on the other side if you look too close. But Jazz says we start tomorrow and we open 12, and then we wait until Christmas to open the full skein.
Mm.
I know. Won't spoil it for anybody, but I'm not waiting. And I'm gonna unwrap it as carefully as possible to keep our snail friend paper
Yeah.
whole and complete, so we can appreciate those snail friends. But I'm so excited for this. If you don't know, so Jazz, the knitting nurse, this is their first Advent. I have been harassing them for Advent, so of course, when they said they were gonna do an Advent, I had to get it. Anyways, so she did a half Advent, so 12 days of mini skeins, one full skein, and it is gastropod themed, land gastropods, ocean gastropods, all the gastropods, which also very much I am a big fan of gastropods as well. So snails, sea slugs, um, gastropods.
Hmm.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I think I showed it on a previous one. I have a stitch marker advent calendar that came before the strike too. And then I have two more yarn advents that are somewhere
Who
in
knows?
together. And cross stitch, the forbidden fiber. They do the 12 days of Christmas rather than I think they have like an Advent one too, but it's meant to be started on Christmas Day or the day after, and it goes for 12 days. Um, and that one is like Tolkien themed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a dork though, right? Like I'm not a nerd. Very cool. Absolutely. So those are all they have been sent. They did not arrive. So I anticipate some wholly unhinged unboxings when they do
In
arrive.
January or
Right.
whenever. Yeah.
If the mail resumes and they come in December, I might still just like gung ho do the whole thing rather than
Yeah.
catching up and going from there because at that point Might like once you start opening a bunch, you might as well just keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
I forgot to say I am also going to start my countdown advent from
Yes.
Patty. Yeah. Which I was already planning on doing that. So that is included in my plans. So,
Yes. And I Jesse shared a couple weeks ago a really nice scarf that's meant to do with like an advent or minis.
oh,
And I'm
perfect.
debating if I do it with this or I have another set of minis and I might knit every day. I don't know. I'm not a very fast knitter, so I fall behind on those daily ones because they are designed for people who knit very fast, and I am not a fast knitter. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, I have, you know, some time to decide.
Yeah. 24 hours.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that brings us to the end. We will be back at the end of the month. Are we going to do a monthly, like a end of month wrap up and
yeah.
maybe like 2025 plans? And then we will see if we can't get everybody's favorite guest star in for a whip parade. That's
Like a start of next year with parade. Is that what you're? Yeah.
right because we did it. I don't can't remember. We did it just after New Year's last year, right? Like
Sure.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It was in that blurry time when everything melds together and it's all the
Like
same and you don't know what number it
January
is.
3rd or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, you'll see us in roughly 4 weeks. If you are jingle balling, that is one thing I need to do. I signed up for a class and I have not done the stitching, but I can
Me
do it.
neither.
Um,
Didn't do any stitching.
yeah. If you are jingle balling, we may see you around those parts. Feel free to DM us and tell us where you're hanging out. Um, I also have a very important audio date starting December 6th. I have 62 hours
Oh yeah.
with Michael Kramer and Kate Redding. Um,
I was
and
like, audio date. What are you
I
talking?
don't know. It's going to be a struggle to me between like spending time with friends and spending time with friends, my book friends, who I've known for a very long time now. And I'm very keen to see how things go for them. And I just, yeah,
I mean, I get it. Like, I'm not offended.
yeah.
It's I get
If you don't know what I'm talking about, book 5 of the Stormlight Archive from Brandon Sanderson, Wind and Truth, drops on December 6th. And I
will be. You've already pre-ordered it or
oh yes,
whatever.
oh yes, when I wake up that morning,
It will be there.
I'll be able to immediately start listening to it. Hey,
All right. I think that was it.
thanks for hanging out. You may or may not have heard us rambling at the end. We'll see how much I feel needs to come out, but we appreciate you so much. We'll
And we'll
see
see
you
you at the end of December.
Bye.
Bye.